You're listening to Curious Cat, a podcast that examines a shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. And I'm your host, Jennifer Holtz. Join me every week as I explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit. Welcome to Curious Cat. So for the last year, I've noticed repeating numbers, 444, 1212, 222, and 555. They've driven me to the internet, usually in the dead of night, multiple times, in search of the meaning behind the message. And that's how I first heard the term numerology. From the little I gleaned, it is a left-brained and right-brained science, marrying the spiritual with the scientific part being kind of the backbone. And that is so speaks to Curious Cat. Ever since I've sought a numerologist to teach all of us about this interesting subject, I am grateful to have found the perfect guest to pepper with questions thanks to my podcast friend, Karen Rontowski. Here's a little about Brian Kukan. Brian was a high school math teacher for 13 years before leaving the profession to pursue a more spiritually focused lifestyle. Brian loves how numerology can help us learn more about ourselves and others and teach us how to improve our relationships with everyone. Brian is also a Jikiden Reiki teacher. I hope I said that right, offering classes and sessions in his healing room in Los Angeles and provides distant treatments for others around the globe. He's also a gigging bass player, which I wanted to call giggling bass player, a gigging bass player, playing music all around Southern California. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you doing?
A giggling bass player.
Well, sometimes I am, for sure.
Gigging and giggling, like all of it. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome to Curious Cat. I'm sure I've just totally ruined so many things. Did I say it right? Is it Jikiden Reiki?
Jikiden. Yes, Jikiden Reiki. Yeah.
Okay. And you notice probably I intentionally left out huge pieces of your bio so that you could tell your story firsthand. And it began at a local metaphysical shop. Then what happened that led you into numerology?
So, I left the teaching profession, was pursuing Reiki and hypnosis and all these kind of different modalities, very different from teaching math, and was just starting to open up to more things. Went into the shop and was looking around for crystals, and I saw that there was a numerology workshop coming up like on the next Sunday. And at that time I had a gig every Sunday at brunch time. And that particular Sunday I had off. We didn't have a gig that day. And it's another one of those things where just like, okay, I get the sign, I'm supposed to sign up for it. And being a numbers guy, I had just barely heard about numerology. I'd known astrology for years, but didn't know anything about it. I was like, well, I guess I'm going to learn about it here. And just immediately signed up. I was like, I'm going to sign up for that worksheet or workshop. That's for me. And it was a nice 2-hour little introductory workshop. And I just loved it. Well, I loved doing math in a more spiritual way. It was fun. And then was like, okay, this kind of makes sense for me as we were learning our numbers. And it was a group, so we're learning about everybody else's numbers and everything. I was like, okay, this is fascinating. I'm going to go out and practice. And so there was a numerology deck that the teacher had. So we all got this deck, and I would just go out to my friends and be like, okay, what's your birthday? And calculate the number. And then, okay, what's your name? What was your birth name? What's on your birth certificate? And I sit down and I calculate all these things. And I say, okay, well, this number shows up from your birthday. So this is the energy of this number. How does that feel to you? These are the numbers that came up from your name. And in this position, it means this. In this position, it means this. How does that? And just having these conversations over and over, it just gave me a lot of practice. And it started to make sense for everybody. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And as they would give me feedback, they're like, well, yeah. And then we would talk about it. And it gave me more depth to understand the different expressions of the numbers in their different places and how they show up with different people. And it was just fascinating. And I go into everything with a skeptical mindset. That's that science background, that mathematical thinking background. I got to challenge it. Is it really valid? And it just came up more and more accurate. And the more that I did it, and I started doing it to people that I didn't even know, just at parties or whatever, be like, oh yeah, someone say, let him do your numbers. And I'd say this, this, and this. And I'd be substitute teaching, and I'd tell the kids, hey, you want to learn a fun kind of math? And we'd start doing it. And it just started making sense for everybody. And I think maybe in all the times there's been maybe one or two people that are like, yeah, that doesn't make sense for me. So it could be way off, but it's so accurate and very simple, a lot simpler. Although I don't go as deep as you could go with numerology, because you can get really down deep in the weeds, but I might get lost down there. So
I have to wonder about the couple people it didn't resonate with, if maybe they weren't given accurate birth information, or you know what I mean? If there's a little bit more to their story that why it didn't resonate. And so it was like you were just given the wrong birth date or birth time, or, whatever, maybe they changed their name, because that's the other thing is, I'm getting ahead of everything, but it feels like your name, has significance. And what if you change your name, or it's a name that doesn't resonate with you and they may be in the process of changing it?
Yes,
so all that's kind of fluid.
Yeah. So there's two main approaches that I take, because one is with the birthday. And if we look at it from a soul perspective, we as infinite soul beings that incarnate in this lifetime, we as the soul pick when we're going to be born. So we are in charge of that number. We want to have that energy this lifetime around. Then we're born, and then our parents give us our name. Now, back before we were all born and we had this agreement, then they were here a long time before us, and they might have forgotten the plan. So maybe. But I've also heard of different stories from parents that say, like, they had an idea of a name, and then last minute or right when the child was born, they're like, no, it's going to be this. Or they change the spelling of the name, which is interesting, where it's like, oh, that is. It comes in. But it's that birth name that gives us other energy in our numbers, which could then accentuate the ease of the expression of that birthday number, or put little limitations or obstacles to overcome to express that number.
Okay. And again, I'm just wondering if you can look at numerology. Can you look at somebody's past life? Because you were talking about soul, and I really do believe that you come in with a soul contract. Like, I've got this certain stuff to do, and I have stuff to work through from last time, or I mastered it. And so I'm just wondering if numerology can kind of give you a little bit of that story, like hints of your past lives.
That's a good question. I haven't dug deep enough to find any connection with past life material, but there are some numbers called karmic numbers and challenge numbers, which, again, I haven't gone too far into those. I started diving into challenge numbers, and they just didn't resonate with me too much. So, and there's different aspects of the more you study, it's like, I like that person's explanation. I don't jive with that one too much. There's particularly there's one, a numerology book that Karen, speaking of Karen, she really was connected with. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't connect with that one at all.
Isn't that interesting? And actually, this is crazy, because usually by the time I have somebody on the show, I've read like 3 books on the subject. And every time I started reading something, I'm interrupted. And so I'm not supposed to read them. And there was one book that I bought, and she very much, and I don't want to lay judgment on it. It didn't resonate with me, but it was very much, she went into this like biblical piece and more this Christian bent. And she lost me, because it felt like there was this overlay of like, almost like shackles on it in a weird way. And so I just didn't resonate. And then I found this witchy book called The Witch's Book of Numbers. And I
That looks
really
fun.
am I'm really vibing with this more because she's all about enhancing your magic with numerology. And
Hmm.
I literally have just like gotten into the first couple pages. Like she had this quote. I actually wrote it down on my little show notes. It's so the author of it is Rebecca Skolnick, and she wrote, "Numbers continually remind us that we are nature and we are also divine." And it called to mind when she wrote that, this quote, "as above, so below," like
Hmm.
where you see numbers or numerical patterns echoed in nature and the universe. I know I don't know that much about the subject, but it just seems like there's a reason why, like Nikola Tesla, he started obsessing on numbers. And there's others
Yeah.
that have as well.
There's numbers. I mean, a lot of the numerology material that you can dive into, they'll all attribute it back to Pythagoras.
Oh, okay. Is he
However,
considered the god, like the founding father of it?
they they bring it up because I think in his philosophical teachings he probably talked about personalities and numbers and things. But I can't really trace it back all the way for him to like, oh no, you add these up in a certain way and you're going to get these things.
Mm-hmm.
So me as the mathematician, I can't really fully buy into that.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the idea of personalities and numbers and mathematics mixing, maybe
Mm-hmm.
someone took that and kind of ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't trace this Western numerology that I do all the way back there, perhaps. Although just today I was looking up, and getting ready for our conversation, I was like, yeah, let me check some out because I
Yeah.
looked through bibliographies in some of my old numerology books, and I a couple of years ago found one of the older books that it was first published in 1929. And I got a
Wow.
copy from 1931. It was a second edition. I couldn't find a first edition anywhere. And I
Whoa.
loved her writing. And it was the oldest
Mm-hmm.
one that I had heard of or found. And then
Mm-hmm.
found she noted another person that I just found, and they were PDFs available online of her books, published early in like 1908 and early 1900s, even
Oh my
later.
gosh.
But I was reading through some of her material today, and I'm like, wow. One, it's hard to follow. Her
Is it?
organization
Yeah,
of
yeah.
everything was a little challenging to follow, and it didn't seem to follow along with more of the modern writings and teachings in numerology with the numbers. It was very different. Um,
Really?
yeah, and so I was like, oh, okay, I see where people have taken some ideas from there, but definitely
Mm-hmm.
has changed over time. Maybe it connected more back then. But the book that I have
Maybe.
from 1931, it's called Your Days Are Numbered. And then
Ooh, I
I was
love that
doing,
title.
I know it's really cool.
Yeah.
Florence Campbell, I believe, is the author.
Okay.
And I was doing a little workshop last year at the beginning of the year talking about the energy of 2022 and looking through. And it was fascinating because I was quoting her book, and she was like, oh, she has some interesting descriptions of universal numbers. So if you take this year is 2023, so you take the numbers
Mm-hmm.
2 plus 2 plus 3, and this is a universal 7 year. Last year was a universal 6 year. And she mentioned something about war. And I'm thinking 6 is very calm, harmony, peaceful, like
Mm-hmm.
fine. And I was like, yeah, I don't think we're at good diplomatic relations with the world. I think we should be fine. And then 2 months later, boom,
Oh
Russia,
my.
Ukraine. I'm like, whoa, she
Whoa.
was accurate in there.
Holy crap. Okay,
So I
wait. So
resonate
then
with that book.
can you please jump to 8? Because, okay, 2024, that's 2 plus 2 plus 4. So
Yeah,
8. So
so that
tell
would be
me
an
about
8
8.
year.
Please, God, tell me it's a good thing.
Well, I'll pull out her book to see what she says. 8 is the energy of success and drive and financial focus, finances, financial abundance, determination. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
that is the energy around an 8. Um,
Ah.
so 8 in the sequence of single digit numbers, 8 is like going to market after the 7 years of kind of development.
Oh.
Then 8's time to capitalize on it.
Oh,
So
that
eight's
makes
like the
perfect
business
sense.
leader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I was going to ask you because when you were first getting into it, you said that you would take your cards that you had
Yeah.
and you would read people's numbers just to practice and get better at it, more fluent with the language of it, of the, everything. But I'm wondering if it was like also a lot of tarot readers will tell you that the more time they spend with their cards, the more they get these nuances. So it's like a 5 for you maybe comes with this whole other piece of information that you've developed over your course of readings.
Yeah, well, the cards were a little bit of a crutch in the beginning, and I tried to get rid of them
Ah,
as quickly as possible and focus on
mm-hmm,
specific keywords for each number
mm-hmm.
um, that were given by the teacher, and then that I read in other ways. And then in talking with other people and doing their numbers, I would grab some of the words that they would use to describe themselves,
Mm,
and then develop my own little lexicon of words for
mm-hmm.
each number. Um, But speaking of a 5, I can usually pick out a 5 in a crowd by talking to them a
What?
little bit.
Oh my God, I need to hear it. So tell me about the 5.
So the 5 loves change and
Really?
variety. So they they like to travel. They like
I
to
feel
eat
like I'm a
different
5.
dishes. They like to meet different people. They need to have a variety in their life in some way, shape, or
I
form.
feel like I'm definitely a 5. I better just look at this. Let's see. December 2nd. That's a
December
5,
2nd.
right?
Okay. Well, December 2nd, we're going to have to use the year. So I'll have you maybe
Yeah.
add up the year so we
Yeah.
don't have to do that. But
Yeah.
December 2nd. So that's a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's 5.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then you have
Wait.
to add up your year. So 1
Okay.
plus 9 plus blah, blah, blah.
25. So.
Okay. So 7 and then a 5. So 3. So it's
Oh,
no
I'm a
surprise
3.
that you're doing a podcast because 3 is the number of self-expression, communication, creativity.
I'm
So
an author too.
3s are talkers,
Okay.
writers, yeah, artists. Yep, those are
My
3s.
my nickname in college is high verb. So for being highly verbal, we were in a speech communications class and with my guy friends, and they were like, they heard about high verb and they just called me verb for short. But okay, so I'm a 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
I bet
the
life started
5.
getting a little bit better and easier for you once you took on this role.
Yeah, it did. And what's weird is for my whole life, I mean, this isn't supposed to be about me, but my voice was in my shadow for like years because I was bullied in elementary school for it. And then my father passed away 2 years ago, almost to the day. And he had this gorgeous, rich tenor voice. And I always told him he should be on radio. And he was an author too, but nonfiction. And he was a professor. And so when his voice left the world, I thought, to honor my dad, I'm going to tell my stories and get past this shadow. And it has been. It's been such a great path,
Interesting.
So,
I'd be
mhm.
curious to see if the 3 showed up in his numerology somewhere
I
and was
know.
passed down to you. I remember doing numbers for a former math student of mine and him and his family. And I've seen it in different families where there's a number that shows up in the mom and then reappears in like the life path of the daughter, where the mom might
Really?
think she is this number, but then it shows up in the daughter like, no, you are this number. And
Okay,
families are pretty connected.
I just did it. So he was born 4/21, and he's passed, so it won't do anything for his privacy. 1947. So he was 4/21 is what, 7, and then 1947 is 10 plus 11, so it's a 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 7
3 and
plus
then
3, so he's a 10.
so which is a 1. Yeah, but in his
Huh.
name he might have like a 3 as a soul urge number,
Yeah.
or 3 as a personality somewhere.
Yeah,
That will then
I
be passed
bet.
down. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So you can tend to kind of you can genetically get it, or just
Kind
by
of,
the
yeah.
family
Somehow
tree.
it can be passed on.
Ah.
different ways. It's funny
Oh, that's
how
so
the
fun.
connections that we have.
He was definitely a storyteller, and he was so damn funny. You know, he would get me laughing so hard. We would text in the morning over coffee, and he lived in Northern California in the Mendocino, on the
Oh,
Mendocino
okay.
coast. And so he's there texting with me, and I'm here, and we're texting each other, laughing so hard that our dogs, like 3 states apart, are barking. I mean, it's like it was chaos. And I'm like, this is so inappropriate, Dad. Like, we need to stop this. And we would just keep going because that's who we were. So it was very
Nice.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Once you learn how to do some basic numerology, doing your family's numbers, oh, just deepens the relationships. It deepens the understanding
Really?
because you're like, oh, man, I understand you on a whole different level.
Oh my God. So, okay. So wait, I know we can't ask our coworkers for their numbers, but if we're doing it in the pursuit of knowledge, because can you like work better with people around you if you understand what their numerology is, or
Oh,
are there people
yes.
that you kind of can need to avoid, or like there could be a conflict?
Um, yeah. The more you learn it, I try to stay away from like the negative connotations of it. But
Yeah,
the
yeah,
more you
me too.
understand it, it's like, oh, I get why there's friction between us. And then you can make your own adjustments so
Yeah.
the relationship can be on good terms
Flow.
instead of
Mm-hmm.
just be like, no, I don't get you, and
Yeah.
let's back away. But usually it's the consecutive numbers often have friction, like
Wow.
1 versus 2, 3 versus
Really?
4, 4 and 5. Yeah, there's a little bit at odds with the
Yeah.
development of the numbers.
Oh my God, that just blew my mind. Now I really do need to like get everybody's down. That
Yeah,
makes so much
that
sense.
and within yourself too, because if you have, in the way that I read with the birth and the birth name and the birth date, if there
Hmm.
are certain consecutive numbers within that, you can
Hmm.
recognize inner conflicts that you have within yourself.
Wow. Okay, that just blew my mind too. And you can probably that means that you have to confront it.
Yeah, you have to acknowledge it and
Hmm.
recognize when those numbers are in play and when they're
Yeah.
battling each other.
We kind of hinted at it, but like, for me, I decided I was gonna, when I got married, I, wanted to take my husband's last
Oh
name because I
yeah.
liked it. Like it was, sounded cool with my first two names. But it's like, does that change something? Does that mark a change? Maybe that's what it is. It's an outward expression of a change that I've internally been
Yeah,
working on.
the name changes do take effect. Now, your birth name is still the foundation,
Okay.
but the name change is then a color you put on top of it. So you still have that foundation
Mm-hmm.
underneath,
Yeah.
but your new expression is based on top of it, which will take a little bit of precedence.
Wow. Okay.
So
That.
people can consciously change their name. I've known people to
Mm-hmm.
consciously change their name to affect their numerology.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like hacking the system.
Yeah. And then there's a thing to think of with women with marriage. Like, do I want to
Yeah.
change my name?
Or
Because
do I want
it will
both names?
because it will
Yeah, you could.
energetically change because
Mm-hmm.
we speak these names, people call you these names. So spoken name, that's a vibrations. And the
Mm-hmm.
consonants and
Yeah.
the vowels carry vibrations with them, and there's conversions to do them into numbers. So
Wow.
it affects how you see
Yeah.
yourself and how other people view you. And I've done it
Yeah.
with particularly my mom, and her name changes. She's like, oh yeah, I could see during that time period that's who I was, and during this time period that's who I was. Yeah, it's
Wow. That's really interesting. So I had an astrologist on. It's actually my eldest daughter, Nora, and they taught me something during that reading. And I feel like you just did. I mean, you've taught me a lot of things, but they were telling me during astrology. The information they were giving was where you are on your birthday and your half birthday. You can hack the system too. And it's like, it's geographically. So I had an opportunity. Should I be in Colorado or should I be in Seattle? And, fate came in and said, ha ha, you won't be going anywhere. So I was in Seattle, but they did a reading of both places and said, okay, Seattle is going to be great for starting new things, new fresh energy. The thing to be aware of is that by the 6-month cycle, you might run out of energy for the new thing you started. So, maybe look at where you're going to be for the 6-month turn, where Colorado, and I forget what the pluses and minuses were of that, but that reading was so powerful because I never even thought about that. Where you physically are is going to impact the next 6 months. So,
I've heard of astrocartography. I think that's what it's called when they look at the geological locations where it's beneficial for you to live in different areas. It's
really been interesting. They've gotten deep into evolutionary astrology, but it reminded me so much of what you were talking about with the numerology is people that have been seeking to maybe kind of enhance, something or kind of unlock something in the next, and making a change with their name. Because you can't change birth date. You can't change your birth time.
Right. But the name you can change, whether it's using your nicknames or using, abbreviations or anything, it affects the combination of the letters and numbers.
Yeah. So has your deep dive into numerology and even the intuitive side of it, has it unlocked like your skills as a Reiki practitioner?
Well, it will help me work with clients better if I know them on a deeper level. Because then I know what their true, for lack of a better word, like desires are, what drives them, what their interests are, why they might be experiencing hard times, because they might not be in alignment with their numbers. And so then it's fun to do their numbers with them. If they have me do a little numerology reading with them, with the Reiki, and they get to learn themselves, because that's the thing first with numerology. Use it, learn yourself, learn your numbers, and then start to branch out to some other people that do their numbers, and see if you can make sense of those numbers with them and their personalities, and then from there. I don't know, this was just my path, but then it just started making more sense. Like I was comfortable with the math. It's just simple addition. You can do it, but I still double check with a calculator. Of course, I don't want to mess up the math. But I came up with a way to remember the evolution of the numbers from 1 to 9 as a little story of developmental personalities. And so then you see someone where they are on their path, and you're like, oh, okay. So, for example, like if they're a 5,
please,
and they're not going to embrace it, and they're just a homebody, and they're doing the same thing, and they're stuck in routines, they're probably not really happy with what's going on because they're just feeling stuck. They need to switch it up. They need to try a little something. Or a 3, for example, with you, like at 3, you have to express yourself in some way, whether it's writing or through art or talking or anything, and to not, then you're probably going to have some health issues. It might show up in your throat or thyroid or anything like that, because you're not living in alignment with your own personal vibrations on this life.
So I can never go to a silent retreat. I love that.
Good excuse. But no, you should. It's very beneficial.
Okay, fine. That's fine.
If you like weird, spooky, and strange history, then I have the podcast for you. My name is Brenda, and I'm the host of Horrifying History. Are you into the dark side of history? Horrifying History tells you about the side of history that people don't normally talk about. We tell the tales of haunted places, infamous true crimes, the paranormal, and unsolved mysteries, and then we look to history to see where the truth actually lies. Want to get spooky with us? Get your Horrifying History fix by subscribing today on Spotify, Spreaker, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
So wait, now I have to ask you, because we don't live in the past. I know we're well past, we're in 2023, but did you have people coming to you that were really coming in conflict with where their numbers were at during the lockdown? Did you find that more people were coming to you like, please help?
A little bit, yeah, because I had a couple workshops that I would do online to kind of open people up to it and teach
Yeah.
them how to do their numbers. And every time I teach a class, I go through your personal numbers and then I go through your cyclical numbers because each year will have its universal energy. We talked about last year, 2022, being a 6 and this year a 7, but it's not a 6 for you or a 7 for you. You have to calculate what your number is for this year. So we live in these 9-year cycles. And to
Yeah.
determine where you are on this cycle helps give you a focus of what to do that year. Whether it's a good year to start projects, or it's a good year to sit back and reflect and kind of analyze what's going on, or if it's a year to just clean out the closets, not do anything, let's prepare for the next cycle or where it is. And that helps you kind of develop. It gives you a spiritual way to do a 9-year plan instead of a 10-year plan. You could do a 9-year plan and you just keep evolving each 9 years into a different person and a different task to take on or develop for yourself in your life.
Well, then, okay, so you told us about the 8 and it was like coming to market. It's more that business forward. So what is a 9 then?
So the 9 in terms
counting your gold?
Kind of. It's the end of the cycle. So if we look at the generic definition or description of the 9, you would say it's the humanitarian, it's the selfless servant, where 9 is the end of the cycle. So it's not about the person or the thing that is the 9 anymore. It's about everyone else. Everyone else benefit from everything that I've done. So if your life path is a 9, your birthday is a 9, you might not get a lot of attention naturally because the energy is to be focused on everyone else, not on you. Like my dad was a 9. And so he loved hosting parties for everybody. But he didn't want any attention for it. He just liked to see that everybody was having a good time. And if you try and be like, hey, let's give it up, Bob Kukan, and, thanks for the party. Well, he's like, no, brushes it off. Like, just seeing everybody having a good time, that was what made him happy. So that's the 9. In terms of, like, the 9-year cycle, that where it would be like counting your gold, in a sense, sitting back, looking at what you've done over the last 9 years. The nickname I use is it's the garage sale year. It's time to clean out your closets, get rid of anything that just doesn't work for you anymore, that's not going to be benefiting you, and clear out space because the next year will be the one. It'll be the beginning of the cycle. So then you can start. You don't want to start anything in that 9 year. Yeah. Because it's going to fall apart because it's not the energy of starting.
Oh my gosh.
You want to start in the 1 year.
But I can see that at the end of, do you notice with people at the end of a certain year that they're kind of antsy or edgy because, you're almost to the next birthday, right? And there is sort of a thing that happens around people's birthdays. I don't know if it's Western culture that's done that, but it seems like the numbers would be it too, because you're kind of getting in the cusp of the next one.
Yeah, there's 2 schools of thought in terms of like the personal year in numerology. And one is hardcore. It's from birthday to birthday. You don't start your new cycle until your birthday. So my birthday's not until October. So I wouldn't start a new cycle until October. So that's majority of the year is gone.
Yeah.
The other school of thought is that you start your new cycle January 1st. Beginning of the year.
Oh, interesting.
So there's a little conflict in those two. I, being the peacemaker, I blend the two together because, and this is my reasoning, because if we're all living January 1st until our birthday, it means we're already living in the current year energy. How can we deny the fact that we're being pulled into that new energy of the year? Okay, so at January 1st, you're a blend of the previous energy, which started at your previous birthday, and the new energy that's coming up. whenever your birthday is. Now, for the people whose birthday is January 1st, great. You're just, boom, you're in the new energy.
That's convenient.
And that year,
Yeah.
you're always that energy. But for someone like me, October, the majority of the year is a blend. So it's like, this year technically would be a 9, but that's going to start in October for me. So right now I'm in a blend of an 8 and a 9. The closer it gets to October, the stronger the 9 energy gets.
Mm-hmm.
And then after my birthday, then the rest of the year, it's 9 all the way, baby.
Yeah.
So then next year, I'll be a blend of a 9 and a 1. So I'll have endings and beginnings kind of working together.
Wow. That's a very interesting life that you've picked for yourself.
Well, all of us that chose to be born later in the year.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm there, December 2nd. Like,
Oh my gosh, your whole year is a blend.
Mm-hmm. I know. And that makes so much sense because I sometimes look at the day and I'm like today I had like 10 things on my to-do list. And I went, I'm just not vibing them and I don't really have to do those. So I'm going to do some other things. So yeah, I think I'm exploiting that actually.
So you could find out your numerology of each day and kind of live along, be like, okay, this is a good day to get organized. This is a good day to pay my bills. This is a good day to meditate. Yeah. Because once you calculate your personal numerology for the year, then you whittle it down. You combine it into the month, so you can find out your numerology for a month. So you can have a theme for a month, and then within that month, you can calculate each day. So there'd be 9-day cycles. And so I'm wearing a red sweater, not because I love the sweater, but because it is a 1 day for me today, and the color I associate with 1 would be red. So I coordinate the color of my wardrobe with my personal numerology each day. It's a way for me to live consciously each day, to be in the vibration of my personal energy.
Okay, thought experiment. Have you ever decided, this is so weird, but I'm so weird, but I was thinking
Welcome to the club, we're all weird.
Oh, yay. Okay, great. Because have you ever thought about like just testing the next 9-day cycle, wearing the exact opposite of the, so whatever you would consider the opposite of 1, there really isn't an opposite of 1, but I guess like if you start at 9 instead, and then just go backward from there, like I wonder like how the world would perceive you, how you would perceive yourself, and because they, and how others would perceive you.
I have enough internal conflict. I don't need to create any more external conflict for me.
But
it's an interesting experiment. I got enough of my own stuff to deal with. I don't need to create more stuff for me to deal with.
Forget I mentioned it. I really do like the red, but the red really resonates, for the day.
And the interesting thing is, once I started wearing color coordinated outfits with my numerology, I swear, maybe it's because I just incorporated more color into my wardrobe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I started getting more compliments on the clothes I was wearing. They would just be regular plain clothes, but just particular colors of that day. I was like, oh, okay, cool. People, oh, that's very nice. Nice shirt, nice color, whatever. Okay, I just worked because it worked with my numerology today.
Wow, that is so cool. Oh my God, you can use numerology for everything. Now I feel like I can't even name my next pet until I know the numerology because I
did my son's numerology before he was born.
Did you?
I chose his name. And the funny thing is, so here's another soul perspective, and that's my son's name, Soul. So I said, we choose what day we're going to be born because we want that energy, right? Yeah. So the first due date he was given, it was a 5 energy. I'm like, okay, my wife and I are both 6s. So we're like, okay, there's going to be some conflict. It's going to be different from us. Okay, fine. And then later they're like, oh, no, that's not the due date. Here's the due date. They gave us a new due date. It was still a 5. And he was born on his due date. He came into this lifetime determined to be a 5.
I'm telling you, these are our kids, because mine are 25 and 19, and they are our best teachers. It's bananas. Like what they teach us, and they're really the first ones to call BS on whatever these old baggage, stale, cobwebby, crappy things that we came into this life with. They're like, why is that there? That doesn't match you. And it's like, oh, I don't know why that's there. And then let's toss that out. And like, they're our best teachers.
Yeah.
I always try to give to my kids more than they've given to me, which is impossible because they've just blown my life apart in a good way and then rebuilt it. So that 5 energy with the 2 6s, that's really dynamic. It's rich. Yeah. What a cool ecosystem.
It's very fun because 5 is definitely more outward energy. And 6s are more home body energy, peace, home life, harmony and all that kind of stuff. So it's interesting. It's definitely pushing us outside of our comfort zone, but in a good way for growth.
I can tell. That's so cool. Oh my God, that's so neat. Okay, so I was wondering, because usually numerology books talk about 1 through 9, and they don't talk about 0. And I have to preface it with, I have become obsessed with the number 0 lately, because like 0 used to be like thousands and thousands of years ago, just a mere placeholder. And then there was this moment in evolution where it became a value that had no value. And then I've been doing this research on 0, and they've taught honeybees how to recognize 0, and they can recognize 0 faster than preschoolers can, because the concept of not having is really hard for a preschooler to get. Like it's because there's no stimulus, right? Where a bee is trying to figure out how to be productive for the day. And so it can go to the different cards with the different numbers, and it knows it gets sugar water if it goes for the least number. And they can train it until there's the card with no numbers, no dots, and it can pick that and know it's going to get the sugar water. Where like a preschooler can't get that until a little bit later. It's usually right around kindergarten. But anyway, going back to numerology. So how do you see 0? Why is it not assigned a value? Or I just don't know. I don't know what my question is. 0. I'm obsessed with it.
If we're looking at the calculations that we do with birthday, you can add 0, it's not going to change. So it doesn't really, and when you collapse the numbers, you're going to get something greater than 0. So it's not going to come into effect there. And when you set up the chart to convert letters into numbers, you're just using 1 through 9. But in the one book, and I reference challenge numbers. So that's one thing where you take some of the numbers from your name and then you subtract them in certain ways. And so in there is a possibility that you do get 0. And then when you get 0, they say to treat it as a 9. It's going to have a 9 energy.
Oh, okay. Treat it like a 9.
Yeah.
So it's that year of not creating something new, doing something new, but just...
Well, question, how are you going to get a 0 if you're looking for your year? Because it's all addition.
Yeah, that's
You're not
true.
going to have a 0 year.
No, you're not.
Yeah, it's only gonna show up in other types of manipulations of numbers from the numbers that you already have.
So maybe 0, because I'm obsessed with it and I need to stick up for 0 because I'm a mama bear, even to 0. Which is, it's like, to me, it reminds me of the Ouroboros, where it's that, the snake eating its tail. It's the, reincarnation. It's the, reduce, reuse, recycle, and then reduce, reuse, over and over. So maybe it is that perpetual in the background, just the pattern that reminds us. It's that kind of a base of, we're all going to come back. This will happen again. It's just a comfort, maybe.
Well, mathematically
like a blanket.
Mathematically speaking, 0 represents nothing, the absence of something, but 0 also represents everything.
Yeah.
everything combined would give you 0.
Yes.
You add all the positive numbers and all the negative numbers, they're going to cancel out. It's going to leave you with 0. So it's both nothing and everything.
Everything. Wow. And I love it. I
Special
am in
number.
love
Just
with
as humans, it took us a really long time to comprehend that as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the last numbers that we like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I have this book. I've just started this book, but he's a mathematician and he went in search of the oldest iteration of 0, like not as a placeholder, but as a value, like a digit. And it's a really interesting book. Oh, it's so good. So I've just started it and I have to do a podcast about 0 because it's everything and nothing.
You need a theme song for that one. 0 is my hero.
That's what I feel. It's literally it, from 0 to hero. That's got to be it, right? Oh my gosh. Okay. And so then you were also talking about the names. We're going to change the names if you want it to, because I'm thinking of my eldest, for example, and they go by Nora instead of Eleanor or Ellie. And now I kind of want to do so do you assign each letter has a numerical value and you add it up or?
Yeah. So if you just kind of write 1 through 9 across the top, and then you start filling in the alphabet underneath. When you finish a row, you start the next row, and you start the next row. And then you assign the letters numbers based on the chart, and then you can add up the whole name, and then you add up the different iterations of the letters to get different numbers in different ways. And then you find out the way that you view yourself, the way that other people view you, different recurring patterns in your life. And sometimes it's funny when there are name changes, sometimes the numbers don't change.
Well, that will be interesting. I really want to know because, it is an outward journey, it's an outward expression of our internal journey. And so I kind of want to see if it resonates with them, with the changes that they've gone through of like, I was almost allergic to my little kid nickname and I had to get rid of it in college. And so what that would look like.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how the numbers changed with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that their personality changed.
It did,
because how they viewed themselves, what they're into would shift based on those number changes.
Jeez. Wow, that's interesting. So, okay, now we got to go to just right before we close, we got to go to the weird conspiracy stuff because there are people that like go so deep into numerology. They like try to think that there's conspiracies with people and they've got the Illuminati and they've got these words. So they'll say, like if an awful tragedy happens, they'll say, look, that's a so and such. Look, add up the letters and it's this and that. The last time that happened, we were in World War II or whatever. Yeah. And I feel like people are just, maybe they shouldn't do that.
Yeah. And remember what I said in the beginning. I only go so deep with the numbers because I could lose my connection with reality and the world. Yes. Like I know what I know how to apply it, and I know how to benefit from it, and I know how to help other people benefit from it. But if I just spend all of my time researching and going and playing in the thought world of these numbers, then I'm not necessarily living my life.
No, I don't think so. I think it'd make you crazy.
Yeah, I spent enough time in theoretical mathematics teaching it. That was living in the thought realm of math.
That was Nora's happy place at UC Irvine was theoretical math. And they would come home from their breaks and try to explain it to me, and God help them, they would try to explain. And it was so beautiful how they would explain. And it's pretty special.
It's beautiful, but
it is beautiful.
You got to learn how to apply it.
Yeah, exactly. On things you can touch.
Yeah.
It was so great to talk numbers with you. And where can everybody find you, reach you, maybe even have you do their numerological chart or maybe for the Reiki? Sure.
They can go to lareikiguy.com. That's my website, and it has everything up on there.
Okay, great.
So it has a little calendar, a little blog with, I have a newsletter. You can sign up on the
Oh,
website.
I need to
Send
do
out a
that.
monthly newsletter. I do virtual Reiki practitioner nights once a month on Zoom. So we send Reiki to each other. And then I'll have some in-person ones here in Los Angeles and teaching classes as well. So I have a numerology class coming up at the beginning of May. So there'll be a link on the website.
Oh, that's
you can
great.
click on the link and sign up for that if you want to dive into it and learn the numbers and how to calculate them. Have some questions, bring it to the class, and it's a nice conversation piece. And all that stuff.
That is fantastic, because I think your episode comes out March 31st. This is March 31st.
Perfect.
Yeah. So isn't that perfect? So people will have a chance to sign up for that. That sounds like a great way to learn and to practice. What a safe place to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy. I make it fun and easy. It's not complicated math. You just have to add up some numbers. We can do examples, and we can answer all the questions that you have about your numbers or anything like that too.
Oh, that's great. Thanks so much, Brian. I will put all the links for everybody in the show notes. So they will have your website and they can sign up for the class there. That'd be fantastic. But I want to sign up first before I air this. So there's
I'll save space for you.
Yay. Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Awesome.
Thanks
Thank you
again
so much,
for being here. Take care. Thank you for listening to Curious Cat. If you like the content, be sure to like and review us on your favorite listening app. Curious Cat is lacing up their hiking boots this spring. We will be exploring the rumor-riddled Cascade Mountain Range, a land of fire and ice, from Sasquatch to UFOs to remote viewing to bottomless pits to unexplained missing persons. If you have any supernatural experiences, please give us an email at curious_cat_podcast@icloud.com, and your story may be featured on a future episode. Look for Cascadia episodes on your regular Curious Cat feed this spring. Original art by Nora's Unnamed Photos. Find the artist on Instagram and look for their newest designs on Society 6. Until next time, stay curious. I love you.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you looking for a new podcast that appeals to your scientific curiosity, but is also a little bit spooky?
Show me how I died in a past life.
Well, look no further, because this cat is where it's at.
He had concerns about the ethics surrounding AI, feeling they had achieved consciousness.
Curious Cat Podcast examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. Listen every week with your host, Jennifer Holtz, as she and her guests explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit.
We were healing karma together. They were all kind of predestined to resolve something.
Listen on all your favorite streaming apps and continue the conversation on Twitter at CuriousCatPodCA, or find Jennifer and all her links at Jennifer L. Holtz, spelled HOTES.com.